Friends, welcome back to physics online class. So in last class we got that neat applications related to expansion of the liquid. Now we shall focus on expansion of the gas here. Expansion of gas we can consider. How that expansion of gas is differ from the liquid again? So whereas in case of solid and liquids are incompressible materials, whereas gas is a compressible thing we can consider. So if gas is getting compressed means, so we can consider that effect of pressure we can consider. So whereas in case of solid and liquid expansion, so effect of pressure is negligible we can consider in case of solid and liquid, but whereas in case of gas effect of pressure is considerable. So in case of expansion of the gas is a compressible material, so in case of that expansion effect of pressure we can consider. So for that purpose, whenever gas is getting heat up, so during that moment volume and pressure is simultaneously getting changes here. So it is impractical to deal with the change of volume and pressure at a time. So for that purpose, in order to understand that volume coefficient of gas and pressure coefficient of gas, in volume coefficient of gas I will keep that pressure constant, in pressure coefficient of gas I will keep that volume constant, right? So in case of expansion of gas we can consider volume coefficient of gas, volume coefficient of gas. So it is represented by the letter alpha, right? So volume coefficient of gas alpha, which is equal to V of t minus of V naught divided by V naught into delta of t, right? So this formula is applicable if the initial temperature is 0, where if the initial temperature is not equal to 0, then we are having one more form, alpha which is equal to V2 minus of V1 divided by V1 into T2 minus of V2 into T1. So this equation we shall use if initial temperature is not 0. If initial temperature is not 0, it means that if T1 is not equal to 0, we shall use this formula. If T1 is 0, we shall use another formula, right? So in that similar aspect, we can consider that pressure coefficient of gas. Right? So in case of pressure coefficient of gas, it is represented by the letter beta, right? That beta which is equal to P of t minus of P naught divided by P naught into delta of t. This equation is applicable if T1 is 0, and one more form we shall take, P2 minus of P1 divided by P1 into T2 minus of P2 into T1. This is the required expression for pressure coefficient of gas and volume coefficient of gas, right? So in case of that expansion of volume, we can consider that Boyle's law and Charles law. In order to verify that Boyle's law, we are having one device. That device is quill tube we can consider, right? Quill tube is a device which is used to verify the Boyle's law. Now I can find that value of pressure for different cases. First one, when open end of the tube is vertically upward direction. This is one capillary tube. Open end is upward direction. This is closed end. Mercury pellet is introduced between closed end and the open, right? Let small h be the height of the mercury pellet and this air is trapped between mercury pellet and closed end, so that length will be L we can consider. Let P naught be the atmospheric pressure, and what about the pressure in a upward direction? Pressure P1, which is equal to H plus of H we can consider, where capital H stands for atmospheric pressure. So look at here, capital H we can consider as atmospheric pressure, right? Small h indicates that height of mercury, height of mercury we can consider, right? Then now suppose if the tube is vertically downward direction, so for downward direction, if tube is vertically downward direction, if in this case, again this is mercury pellet, this is H, and we shall consider this pressure is P2 and this P naught is atmospheric pressure, that pressure P2 which is equal to H minus of H for mercury. So when the tube is vertically downward direction. Now wait a minute. Okay, right. Third case, if tube is in horizontal direction, let me draw it. So this is mercury pellet. So air is trapped between closed end and mercury pellet. Let this pressure will be P3 and this is P naught. Then pressure P3 which is equal to atmospheric pressure when the quill tube is in horizontal direction. We shall use that equation. Next, when tube is in inclined position, look at here, this is quill tube. This quill tube is in inclined position. It makes an angle theta with the vertical direction. Then this is mercury, weight is dissipated mg sin theta, and this will be mg cos theta. This is weight mg and this is normal reaction n. This is atmospheric pressure. This pressure will be P4. I want to find the value of P4 here. This P4 which is equal to H plus of H cos theta. This is the required expression for pressure in different cases. So this is the applications related to Boyle's law. So hope it clears. We'll move for next application. Right. In case of that gas, we shall use the concept of specific heat capacity and heat capacity, relation between specific heat capacity and heat capacity. And one more concept, water equivalent of water. So water equivalent of a body. So first let me begins with the concept of specific heat capacity. So quickly we can consider that equation. So it is the amount of heat required to rise the temperature of unit mass of substance through 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin we can consider as specific heat capacity. S which is equal to dQ divided by M into dt or delta T we can consider. So amount of heat required to rise the unit mass of substances through 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin, we can call it as specific heat capacity. And next thing is heat capacity. Right? So heat capacity means amount of heat required to rise the temperature of a body through 1 degree Celsius. That is heat capacity. amount of heat required to rise the temperature of a body through 1 degree Celsius. This is heat capacity. Now let me find that relation between specific heat capacity and heat capacity. Relation between heat capacity and specific heat capacity, right? So H, which is equal to M into S. This is the relation between heat capacity and specific heat capacity. H stands for heat capacity, mass and specific heat capacity. What is the relation between heat capacity and specific heat capacity? H, which is equal to M into S, we can consider, and we'll understand one more term, that is water equivalent of a body. Water equivalent of a body. What's the mean of that water equivalent of a body? The quantity of mass, we can consider that the amount of mass required to rise the temperature of a body. So in case of water equivalent of a body, we can consider that the mass of water whose thermal capacity is equal to the body. What does the mean of this statement? The mass of water whose thermal capacity is equal to that of a given body. For example, this is one body, right? So I want to consider that how much quantity of the mass is required. So whatever the quantity, how much quantity of the water is required in order to get the same thermal capacity. For example, thermal capacity for the wood is something, it is having certain value, right? I want to get that same thermal capacity for water. In order to get the same thermal capacity for water, how much quantity of water must be required? That is water equivalent of a body. That mass of water, which is equal to mass of body and its specific heat capacity. This is about water equivalent of a body. I hope it clears. Next we can move for that calorimeter concept. So calorimeter is a device which is used to measure the value of heat. So in order to measure the value of heat, we are going to use calorimeter, right? What is the principle of this calorimeter? Heat lost by the hot body, which is equal to heat gained by the cold body. What is the principle of calorimeter here? Principle of calorimeter, which is equal to heat lost, which is equal to heat gain. Heat lost by the hot body, which is equal to heat gained by the cold body, right? For example, I will consider that two body, right? So these two body having that different temperature T1 and T2, and these two body having that specific heat capacity S1 and S2. Now I will mix those two body. Then these two body attains a common temperature. Look at here. I will take that two different substances. These two different substances having that mass M1, specific heat capacity S1 and temperature T1, and another body having that mass M2, specific heat capacity S2, and its temperature will be T2. I can consider. I will mix these two quantities, right? So this mixture attains a constant or common temperature. What's the mathematical expression for common temperature here? So in case of common temperature, T of 3, which is equal to M1 S1 T1 plus of M2 S2 T2 divided by M1 S1 plus of M2 into S2. this is the mathematical expression for common temperature, right? So based on this calorimeter we can consider that Newton's law of cooling, right? So let me understand about that Newton's law of cooling, right? So that Newton's law of cooling, it explains the concept of heat loss. So heat loss by the hot body depends on what are the factors. So in case of that Newton's laws of cooling, the rate of heat lost by the hot body which is proportional to the rate of loss of heat by the hot body which is proportional to temperature difference between the system and the surrounding. So look at here, the rate of loss of heat of a hot body which is proportional to, so temperature difference between system and surrounding, right? If that system and surrounding temperature is more, for example take this is one system, apart from the system everything is surrounding, right? If that temperature difference between system and surrounding is more, then more amount of heat is passes through the passes through the system to surrounding, whatever the amount of heat is present in the system, right? If the temperature difference between system and surrounding is more, means quickly the heat is getting released to the surrounding. The rate of loss of heat by a hot body which is proportional to temperature difference between system and surrounding, dq by dt, which is equal to, negative sign I will consider. Why? Because heat is getting lost with respect to time. C into theta minus of theta naught, right? Then dq I can consider as m into s into dt divided by dt we can consider C, theta minus of theta naught, right? So this is d theta, temperature, right? Then minus of d theta divided by dt, which is equal to C divided by m into s, theta minus of theta naught. Or I will shift that negative sign here, that C divided by m into s I will consider constant. Let me take this is d theta divided by dt, which is equal to k. Why? Because k stands for minus of C divided by m into s, theta minus of theta naught, where d theta I can consider as theta 1 minus of theta 2, where theta represents that average temperature, theta 1 plus of theta 2 divided by 2. Then d theta I can consider as theta 1 minus of theta 2 divided by t, which is equal to k into theta 1 plus theta 2 divided by 2 minus of theta naught, where theta naught represents that surrounding temperature. So this is the required expression for Newton.